1989, Chicago. Phil Jackson takes over the Bulls, inherits Michael Jordan, the greatest raw basketball talent on the planet, a bloke who could sink 50 points on a Tuesday night and still look like he was bored doing it. Jordan's mindset was simple. Give me the ball, clear the floor, watch this. And fair play, he was right. He could win you a game on his own. On a good night, he could win you two. One problem, but he couldn't win a championship on his own. 6 years he'd been there. 6 years of best player on the planet. 6 years of getting knocked out the playoffs by teams who had worse players but better shape. 6 years of being the most talented man in the building and going home empty-handed. Now, does any of this sound familiar? You're the best on the tools, best with the customers, best at sorting the suppliers, best at fixing what the lads get wrong. You're winning every game, and you're still broke by Wednesday. So what did Phil Jackson do? Did he sit Jordan down and say, Michael, you need to score more? No. Jordan was already averaging 35 points a game. Telling him to score more would be like telling water it needs to be a bit wetter. Did he buy him better teammates? Couldn't. No budget. Same lad. Did he give him a motivational poster? An eat, love, play sign for his kitchen? Nope. Jackson did the opposite of what everyone expected. He brought in a system called the triangle offense. 3 players, a specific shape, specific spacing, roles. Everyone moves. Everyone knows where the ball goes next. In other words, a playbook. Jordan still got the ball, but only when the playbook said he should. Sometimes the playbook said, give it to Pippen. Sometimes it said, swing it to Paxson in the corner. And Jordan, the greatest scorer alive, had to pass it. The first time Jackson explained this, Jordan reportedly looked at him like he'd suggested they play in skirts. But Jackson held firm, because Jackson, the best player on the team, is not the same thing as the best system on the team. 2 years later, first championship, then another, then another. 6 championships in 8 years. Same Jordan, same Chicago, same personnel. What changed? Jordan stopped being the bloke who had to do everything. He became the bloke who did one thing in the right place, at the right time. Because the playbook told him when. And before you click off thinking, this is a basketball video, I don't watch basketball, stick with me. Because what Jackson did to Jordan is the exact thing you need to do to yourself. You are the Jordan of your business. Most talented bloke on the team. Best on the tools. Knows every customer by name. Knows which supplier's having a bad week. Knows which lad needs telling twice and which one needs telling 4 times. You're scoring 50 points a night, and you're getting knocked out in the first round every single year. Because nobody, not even Michael Jordan, wins a championship playing 1-on-5. Now let's have a look at your week. Phone goes. It's you who answers. Email comes in. It's you who reads it. Customer wants a price. It's you who quotes. Lad needs a decision. It's you who decides. Material's wrong. You sort it. Skip's late. You ring them. Site's not ready. You go round. There's a name for this in basketball. They call it hero ball. One bloke trying to do everything. Star player taking every shot. Team standing around watching. And here's the bit nobody tells you about hero ball. It can work. For a bit. That's what makes it so dangerous. You can run a small business this way for years. The Jordan years before Jackson. Plenty of points on the board. Plenty of highlight reel moments. Plenty of, we pulled it off again. And then, one Tuesday in February, you're sat in the van at 6:30 in the evening, 2 cold cups of coffee on the dash, ringing a customer back you should have rung yesterday, and you realise you don't actually run this business. It runs you. Saturday morning, kids' football match. You said you'd be there. You are there. But you're stood on the touchline scrolling through WhatsApp because one of the lads has sent you a photo asking if this is the right tile and the customer's going mental and can you call him back. Your kid scores. You miss it. Wednesday afternoon. You're meant to be on a price for a kitchen extension that could be the biggest job of the year. Instead, you've spent the last 40 minutes sorting out which lad's driving, which van to which site, because the diary lives in your head and nobody else knows. Quote, doesn't get done. Customer goes cold. You'll never know if you would have got that job. Sunday night, 11 o'clock. You're answering an email from a customer about a job that finished 3 weeks ago. They've got a question about the warranty. Could one of your lads answer it? Yes. Will they? No. Because the customer's got your number. And only your number. Because every customer's got your number. because you gave it to them, because if you didn't, who would? And the worst bit isn't any of these moments on their own. The worst bit is, there's always going to be another one tomorrow. Now here's the thing most owners get wrong. They look at this and they think, I need better lads. Or, I need to delegate more. Or, the worst one, I just need to be better organised. That's not the problem. The problem is, there's no real way to delegate. If a lad rings you and asks what tile, and the answer lives in your head, you can't delegate that. There's nowhere to delegate it to. You are the system. If a customer rings on a Sunday with a warranty question, and the only place that information lives is in your head, you can't hand that off. There's nothing to hand. And here's the bit that stings. The reason your team rings you about everything isn't because they are useless. It's because you trained them to. Every time you said, don't worry, just ring me, you taught them that the answer lives with you. Every time you fix something yourself, instead of writing down how it gets fixed, you taught them the only way to get it sorted is to escalate it. Every time you took the call, did the quote, sorted the supplier, calmed the customer, you proved that the business runs through you. So they keep ringing, because you keep answering. And the more you answer, the more they ring. Round and round. That's not a people problem. That's a shape problem. Back to Jackson for a minute. The triangle wasn't complicated. 3 players, a specific spacing, a few rules about who goes where based on what the defense does. It wasn't a manual. It wasn't a binder. It was a shape. Once everyone knew the shape, Jordan didn't have to score every basket. The system made the decisions. Jordan just had to play his part of it. And here's the part of the story most people miss. The real test of the triangle wasn't Jordan. It was Dennis Rodman. Rodman was wild. A brilliant rebounder. Hair every colour of the rainbow. Mid-season, 98, the team's chasing another title. Rodman walks into Jackson's office and says he needs 48 hours off. 48 hours. To go to Vegas. To party. Jordan thinks the team's going to fall apart. Jackson lets him go. Why? Because the system wasn't built around Rodman. The system worked when Rodman was there and worked when he wasn't. It was the shape that won games, not the individual. Now ask yourself, if you took 48 hours off, proper off, phone in a drawer, no checking, what falls over? If the answer is everything, you don't have a business. You have a Jordan in 1989 problem. Episode 1 talked about playbooks, the agreed way we do a job round here. This episode is about who runs them, and specifically, about taking yourself out of being the only person who can run them. 2 things have to happen for that to work. 1, the decision has to be written down somewhere that's not your head. 2, someone other than you has to be allowed to make it. Both, not one. Both. Because here's what most owners do. They write the playbook. They feel proud of it. Then a lad rings them about it anyway, and they answer the question anyway, and 3 weeks later, the playbook's gathering dust and nothing's actually changed. Writing it down is half the job. Letting go is the other half. There's a quick test for whether you're the bottleneck. 3 questions. Be honest. Nobody's watching. 1. What only happens in the business when you touch it? Quoting, customer comms, material decisions, pricing, hiring, sorting problems. Pick the ones where, if you stopped, everything stopped. 2. What decisions are your team escalating to you that they could make themselves, if there was a rule in place? Which tile? Which screw? Can I order this? Can I knock off early? What do I tell the customer? 3. Where does the team stop and wait for you? If you don't show up on Monday, what doesn't happen? If you don't check the WhatsApp, what doesn't move? If you're up a ladder for an hour, what queue is forming? If you can answer all 3 honestly, you've just mapped your bottleneck. And here's the bit that stings. Every one of those answers is a thing your team is currently waiting on you to fix, which means every one of those is costing you money right now. Today, this week, last episode, I told you about Tom. Builder, 5 lads, made his first playbook for quoting. 3 weeks later, Tom's foreman is doing first draft quotes off the file. Tom's just approving them. Sounds great. Tom's chuffed. Then a lad rings him on a Wednesday afternoon. Tom, the customer wants to add another room. What do I tell her? Tom drives across town, sorts it in 15 minutes, drives back. And the playbook hasn't changed a thing, because Tom built a playbook for one task. Quoting. He didn't build a rule for the dozen other things his lads ring him about. So he sat down on the Sunday with a notebook, listed every reason that the guys had rung him in the last fortnight, every reason a customer had rung him. 23 reasons, 23 different things, all coming through one phone. Tom didn't try to fix all 23 at once. He picked one, the most common one. Customer wants to change something on a job. And he wrote one rule. If the customer wants to change something on a live job, foreman handles it on site. If the change adds more than 500 quid, foreman rings me first. Anything under that, foreman decides, tells the customer, tells me, at end of day. 3 sentences. Took him about 90 seconds to write, and it killed about 3 calls a week from his phone immediately. Tom's not delegating tasks, he's delegating decisions. That's the bit most owners miss. Now let me tell you what this actually buys you over 12 months. Same structure as last episode. 3 stages. Stage 1, the first 3 months. Phone rings less. Properly less. Not because you've gone off grid, because half the things people used to ring you about now have a rule attached. The lads stop ringing. The customers stop ringing. You start having evenings. Stage 2, 6 months in. Decisions are getting made without you. Some of them you would have made differently. That's fine. 90% of the time, the other way is good enough, and the time you save is worth more than the marginal improvement. And here's a thing that surprises every owner who actually does this. Your team gets better, not because you trained them harder, because they finally got to make decisions. Practice doing it. Build the muscle. If a lad's been ringing you for 3 years instead of deciding, he hasn't been getting better at deciding for 3 years. He's been getting worse. Stage 3, 12 months in. You walk into the yard at 8 a.m. 3 vans are already gone. Lads know where they're going. Materials are already on site. Customers have already had their morning update. And you didn't do a single one of those things. You're not having a quieter business. You're having a different business. One that runs on rules instead of memory. One where the decisions live somewhere other than the inside of your skull. That's not magic. That's 6 championships worth of system. Right. Here's your job this week. Different from last week. Last week was record 1 task. This week is write 1 rule. Tomorrow, end of the day, take a piece of paper or your phone notes. Doesn't matter. Pick the question your team rings you about most, not the hardest one, the most common one. Could be what tile, could be can we order more, could be the customer wants X, what do I do? Could be what time do we start tomorrow? Pick the most common one, then write 3 things. 1, what the question is. 2, what the answer normally is, in plain English. 3, who's allowed to answer it instead of you. That's it. 3 lines, maybe 90 seconds. Then send it. WhatsApp the team. Pin it. From now on, when X happens, do Y. You don't need to ring me. And then, and this is the hard bit, when they ring you about it anyway, you don't answer the question. You answer with, what does the rule say? Feels rude the first time. Feels normal by the 3rd time. Feels like a different business by the 10th. Now, here's the bit that compounds. The next day, write another rule. Driving between sites, voice memo a rule. Up a ladder, notes app, 2 minutes. Eating lunch on a curb, write the rule about whatever you've just dealt with. 1 a day. Just 1. A week from now, 5 rules. A month, 20-something rules. A year, your team has a rule book for 90% of the things they currently ring you about. That's how you stop being Jordan in 1989. That's how the business stops needing you for everything. Phil Jackson didn't make Jordan worse. He didn't take the ball out of his hands. He gave the team a shape. So Jordan wasn't the only one with the ball. Same job here. You're not getting smaller. You're not getting less important. You're getting a shape around you. So the business doesn't need you for every single decision, every single phone call, every single tile. You're getting out of the engine room. Pick 1 rule. Write it, send it, hold the team to it, then do another tomorrow. Not more graft. Better shape. Stick with this series, and within a few episodes you'll uncover hours a week you've been leaking without realizing it. Reinvest those hours into the systems we show you, and you'll save even more. Keep doing that, and you stop being the bottleneck. Then you start building something that doesn't need you at the center of it. More jobs, better margin, the next hire, time back, a business that runs. That's the prize. We're not charging you a penny for this. The price is simple. like, subscribe, your move.